Hi, I'm Jorge Argota, and I've spent the last 10 years inside one law firm doing marketing. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the personal injury market, specifically in the city of Hialeah, which is one of the highest populated cities, I guess, or neighborhoods within the Miami-Dade County area. A little bit about me, I provide digital marketing services, so advertising, Google AdWords, things like SEO, local optimization for the maps, things of that nature. If you guys are more curious, you guys can always visit the website. And here I break down everything I do and all the services and the locations and areas that I provide marketing, which is across Florida. So today we're going to be looking at personal injuries, specifically in Hialeah. Just a real quick breakdown of all the things that you're looking at on this query or on this search results page. Here you have at the top the personal injury. These are called local service ads. Essentially, you pay Google a fee per call or per message. The good thing about it is you can sometimes dispute leads if they're bad or spammy, whereas with Google, your traditional Google AdWords, you cannot. But you do have different campaigns within Google AdWords that gives you more flexibility and is significantly cheaper than local service ads. So here we have the local pack, which are 3 companies. And so the way this works is it looks at local signals. So it looks at directories, it looks at the posts you have, the posts you've done, local links, things of that nature. So think everything local encompasses that. So this is obviously good for the founders' personal injury law firm. So you can see here they're at the top, number 1 with 41 reviews, which is phenomenal. I took a look at their website earlier. They do have some really good marketing being done for their firm. So congratulations to them. So here's social media updates. Like they're doing everything that they need to do. So they have all the posts here. They connected it directly through Instagram. They have the services. Everything here is well optimized, and I don't have much to say aside from continue working on it. And then below that, we have the traditional local pack, and these are the 3 businesses that we're going to be looking at today. It's important that we look at these because AI and SEO go hand in hand. AI pulls from SEO, so it looks at Google. And so it's obviously looking at these mostly when they're doing their query. So if you do a query, let's say car accident lawyer, let's do an informational query for the sake of this video. What are personal injury lawyers? So here we'll have, this is what the AI overview. So the AI overview works again hand in hand with SEO, and it's pulling from the websites that are ranking on Google. So these aren't websites that it's pulling from its own directory or from its own place. This is directly from Google's Gemini's AI tool, but they have their own variant or version of it within the AI overview, right? Because the results are going to be different. If you go to Gemini and you do a search, it's going to be entirely different. But so let's go into the video and let's start looking at what is happening and why they're ranking where they're ranking. So Crump is a massive firm. I believe that they did the George Floyd case, got a bunch of money from it, and expanded into personal injury. And they're doing that across Georgia, Florida, and other cities. So they're quickly trying to expand. But the problem here is for a site that's so authoritative, it's unfortunately not performing as well as it should for a lot of the queries because they're not doing the content properly, right? And nor is a lot of these law firms. So if you look at the content, at least for Crump, they're very, very similar. So if you look at Miami Gardens page and you look at their Hialeah page, they're essentially just swapping out the names of the service page, which is, you're not supposed to do that. Google specifically penalized sites with doorway pages, and these are one of their penalties. And so they've been hit already because to have I think they sit at a 50 authoritative score. Now this number is not accurate, right? None of these numbers are accurate because Google has other algorithms in place within their system that scans for stuff that we as marketers don't have access to. For example, nav boost, right? Nav boost is a very, very important, one of the core algorithms for Google. And what nav boost essentially does is it looks at the engagement of the web page itself and the website as a whole and calculates a number. And from there, it kind of ranks the websites depending on that. It's a very, very strong signal. And not a lot of marketers take that into consideration when doing their analysis. And a lot of the times, like, we have good tools at our disposal, but they're not perfect. And so, but at least we have somewhat of an understanding of what's going on, you know. So in this case, let's look at the domain overview. So Ben Crump sits at a 50 authority score, which is really good, right? They have phenomenal backlinks, which is still the most important ranking factor on any website. And you can see that being a thing here, but they're poorly optimizing these pages where they're just copying and pasting and switching out the keywords here. You know, there's nothing here that, from what I believe, that would deem this content necessary from looking at it. Now, obviously it's not up to me, but I think that this could be a lot better in terms of quality, in terms of how it's written. This is just very rudimentary service level information that anybody can post into an AI. There's nothing here that mentions his experience. There's nothing here that provides expertise or differentiation between him and the other competitors that are on the local rankings or on the search engine or on the search results page. Sorry. And so when we look at Demanda, which is right below the firm for Hialeah, you can see here that she's also doing the same thing. They're all doing the same thing. They're just creating a bunch of doorway pages, and you can see it's a common thing with them, and that's fine, right? You could do those things. They're just not doing it the right way. And so if we look at Demanda, let's see, where is she? Okay, she has a decent authority score, significantly lower than Ben Crump, is right below, but she's generating a good amount of traffic. Now, she does a lot of billboards. She does a lot of outreach, you know, just your traditional marketing stuff. She obviously she's been getting into the digital realm for the past couple of years, 2 years, right? She started maybe around 2024 and has gained significant growth. However, based on the pages that she has and based on the quality of content, me personally, from my professional assessment of what's happening, is that there's going to be a significant crash in the organic traffic side. Whether that happens today or in a month or in a few months or maybe a year or two, it's definitely the way that it's going to turn out for this firm if they don't change the information. Because if you look here, I put all their information into an AI tool. This AI tool kind of checks to see whether it's human written content or AI written content. Now, the AI written content doesn't affect pages the way you think it does. It's not a bad thing to have AI content if it's well written. The thing is with human content is, you know, you're writing as a human and you're writing for humans, whereas you're creating, you know, if you read this, it reads like AI. You know, anybody can look at this and say, at least for me, I can look at this and say I already know, because there's nothing here that differentiates her from other firms. There's nothing here that, you know, it's like navigating the legal complexity of a birth injury case. Like what legal complexities? What have you done in a brain injury case? And, you know, all these things, obviously she probably has never done a brain injury case, but, you know, these are things that unfortunately Google's currently rewarding for the time being. But as you can see, Ben Crump got hit with the penalty, and now Ben Crump is not getting nowhere near the traffic that he should be getting based on the authority score. The only reason why the organic traffic is so high right now is because they're in multiple cities all across the United States. But again, this isn't going to be a permanent thing. And when you look at Founders Law, which is the one that's writing good content, and doing posts and doing things, they're not really generating the traffic, right? But the thing is, we don't really care about traffic, because traffic is not the thing that determines whether or not you're generating business. A lot of these queries that they have, they're very informational. And if they're not informational, it's a mix of things. Whereas Founders Law is very targeted towards specific cases, right? They're targeting specific queries that are going to be, in the same way that they're all trying to do it, but it's just not, this is going to be a permanent thing. I think there was recently HubSpot got hammered with SEO penalty because they were doing stuff like this. And so when you look at the website, you look at Ben Crump, it has, 43 performance rate. So this is the UI UX of the website. The way Google ranks a site is also based on the speed of the website, because if things take slow to load, Google's going to give you a lower score. So ideally, you want to have everything up in the hundreds as high as possible. For comparison, if we look at my client, let that sit there. Demanda too also suffers from poor website optimization, but if you look at the Founders Law, which is the other firm, not generating as much traffic, not generating as much things, right? Because they're growing, they're building, you can obviously see that their performances are a lot better. And they're also, generating a decent amount of traffic, a decent amount of leads based on the query for Hialeah specific stuff, as we saw earlier. And so that's kind of like just an overview of the analysis that I do. I don't want to make this video too much longer, but essentially what it breaks down to, what it comes down to, is having high quality content, having the authority, so backlinks and things like that, showing up not only on Google AdWords, on the local service ads, but as well as the organic, right? You want to do as much as you can, especially at Hialeah, which is a very, very competitive market for personal injury lawyers. It's important that you build the marketing according to and following Google's guidelines, right? And just a quick little thing here. So these were the leads for Percy for the month of November. So you could see how these systems are kind of all tied into each other. Whether you do Google AdWords, everything needs to be understood from a data perspective to have a better understanding of how your marketing is doing, where it's going to go. And so these are just good starter baselines for you to kind of assess what are the things that you need for your law firm in order to make the right decisions, especially when it comes into a competitive market such as Hialeah. Again, my name is George. If you guys want to reach out to me, you can always visit my website or do a Google search. And yeah, I'm happy to help. Any questions, please feel free to send me a message. Have a wonderful day.